Welcome to the session on concepts of performance appraisal. I think all of you know when your annual performance form is filled, some of you are very anxious. Some of you know how your supervisor or senior will fill up your performance, and even if you are doing very good, you do not know what they have filled. Hardly it is being discussed. It is being seen, even studies have shown, most of the people hardly get satisfaction when their performance is being filled. So today in this session, we will try to understand what actually is performance appraisal and why it is important. I will start with a quote from Robert Greene. It says, performance management is the single largest contributor to organizational effectiveness, and if it is ignored, that is, performance management is ignored, the organization will fail. Because your staff get motivated with their performance output. Because every employee do their best and they give best performance. But again it depends upon the appraisee who is doing the appraisal of the appraisee, how they are being actually given their comments, and if it is not discussed, they do not know what is there in their performance appraisal. Organization has the responsibility that they make some strategic plan so that the performance management is effective, it is supported by the staff, and at the end they are motivated and they helps in achieving the objectives of an organization. Because it is very important to integrate the vision, mission and the goals of the organization in the performance management. Then only it will be effective. If it is not related with the vision, mission and the targets and the values of the organization, there will be a mismatch. The performance management goal orient process directed towards ensuring that organizational processes are in place so that the productivity of the employees can be maximized. And performance appraisal is a formal system of review and evaluation of individual tasks, which actually leads to the performance of the organization as a whole. So a critical point in definition is word formal. It is a formal system of doing the appraisal of the faculty. They should review the individual performance on a continuous basis. What is happening in our day-to-day routine? It is done annually. Hardly there is a performance appraisal which is done in a continuous way. So annually whatever is done, it is being reflected in the performance form. But many institutions, especially in the private sector, they have started doing performance appraisal in a continuous formal way. They maintain those records, then they review those, they even take the views of their subordinate. We will come to that little later, how it is being done. Performance appraisal form is prepared by an organization, which is a standardized form. Supervisor fill the form that evaluates the individual on several dimensions and then discuss the result of it with the employee. This may not be a routine in the government institutions. Now in some institutions they have started, but in many still it is not there. But in many private organizations, they have started discussing the performance review with the employees, and both come into consensus why this was not able to perform and in which areas they have strengths and which areas they have weaknesses. In one survey, it was seen that this study has shown that 80% of workers stated dissatisfaction with the performance appraisal process. There were many reasons for that. Performance appraisal serves the purpose to improve the results, that is, efficiency of an individual, efficiency of an organization, especially in the hospitals, the efficiency of the staff to provide quality care, and improve the efficiency of the hospital so that people have a faith and the trust in that hospital that when we will go to that hospital, they will get the best services by skilled people who are motivated, who have skills, who have knowledge, and who themselves are also satisfied. Potential problems with the appraisal may be dissatisfaction and expecting too much from the appraisal plan. It can be from the both sides. Sometimes the employee also expect that I will get the best appraisal and I will get some monetary benefit or promotion or increments. It can be from the other side, from the point of view of the supervisor, that yes, my staff has to do the best. They should have minimum weaknesses or the negative points. When I have given so much of training and guidance, why they are not able to perform? So sometimes there is a dissatisfaction from both the sides. And sometimes if the performance appraisal is very good, the employees think they will get some increment, monetary benefit, but monetary benefit is one part of performance appraisal to get promotion or the increment. Properly designed system can help to achieve organizational objectives and the employee's performance. In assessing, especially if you see, second part of the performance appraisal is in assessing the human resource, data must be available to identify those who have the potential to be promoted or transferred to other areas. That means performance appraisal forms can be reviewed by the organization to see if the person can be promoted and transferred to other area and they can take up the higher responsibilities if they have that potential. So that is the second part of performance appraisal. It has to be critically analyzed by the authorities also. Through performance appraisal, it is also discovered that there are insufficient number of workers who are prepared to take up the higher roles. Sometimes when you realize the performance appraisal and the analysis says that the workers need training in this organization. In case they are promoted to managerial positions, they will not be able to perform without any training. You can see there are various aspects of performance appraisal. Then plans can be made to train on management aspects for the future. Well-designed appraisal system provides a profile of the organization, human resource, strengths and weakness. I think very few people realize these are actually the purposes of the performance appraisal. It is not only for the promotion or the monetary benefits. Performance evaluation rating may also help in predicting the performance of prospective job candidates. If you apply somewhere for the higher post, they tell you to submit 5 years of your ACR. Why they tell you? Because they want to see what is the performance of an employee who is coming to another organization for some higher post or even for the same level of post. What are the credentials of that employee? What is the performance? Then what they will do? They will assess the 5 years of performance and the performance during the interview or the skill test, whatever is there, they compare both the datas, then they analyze that this employee should be employed or not. I think these are very important aspects. Every manager, every person to understand performance appraisal is very critical even when you try to recruit new personnel. Helps in validating the selection test of the new employee. Performance appraisal also helps to identify specific needs of training and development. I think this actually in the health sector, it plays very important role because day by day technology is changing, new equipment is coming, and the changes are coming in providing the care with the use of AI technology, robotic surgeries, and various other things. So very important, this performance appraisal can help you. This helps to build the strengths and overcome the deficiencies and even help the staff for career planning. Performance appraisal results to provide for rational decision regarding pay benefits and pay increase, already I have told you, and to give rewards for the good performance. These are the motivating factors, rewards and the monetary benefits. They actually motivate the employees, but non-monetary benefits also motivate the employee when they get appreciation, extra responsibilities, and they are being appreciated for the good work in front of others. It's very important. Performance appraisal also is used for decision for promotion, demotion, termination and transfer. Performance appraisal is not always for the promotion. Sometimes you must have seen in your hospitals where even transfer is done after assessing the performance, because person is not able to perform. Suppose in the critical area in CCU someone is working, but performance is not up to the mark for 1 year or 2 years. The person may be transferred to some OPD or the ward. Maybe the person is not trained. Maybe the person is not interested, because it is a question of a patient's life. So they can be transferred also. And sometimes in grave incidences, if some action has been taken or some patient's life is at risk, sometimes the person is suspended and terminated also. That is in extreme cases. First, actions are taken, try to improve the performance of the employee, then only extreme steps are taken. Identify specific performance goals which are realistic to achieve. Many performance appraisal systems fail because management does not determine specifically what it wants the system to achieve. When there is a mismatch between the performance appraisal, the criteria in the form, and what are the goals of the organization, then the performance system fails because there is a mismatch. And if they are not communicated to our employees, they do not know what they have to perform and what is the expectation of your organization, then also the chances of failure are there. Establish performance criteria or the standards and communicate these to the employees. Management must carefully select performance criteria to achieve the objective, and most commonly they are based on the behavior traits, competencies, goals to be achieved and improvement potentials. So every organization have their own performance appraisal form which is carefully drafted as per their need, as per the responsibilities of that particular cadre. You must have seen in the hospital, doctors have the separate performance appraisal form, nurses have separate, technicians have separate. Why? Because the nature of job is different. But there are some common you can say identify criteria, which is your personality, your background, or based on the organizational objectives. But as per the profession, the main part is always different as per the responsibilities and the potential work to be done by the staff. Based on the work of the employee, then supervisor appraise the performance. Performance appraisal is filled. In some cases, performance appraisal is filled by the staff. Then it is appraised by the first level supervisor. Then it goes to the second level supervisor. But in some cases, you must have seen, still the old method is followed. A blank form, just your staff will just fill up their credential, that is name, post, when they have next promotion. Just fill up the basic information, when they have joined, what is their retirement date. That's all. Rest part is filled by the supervisor. But now the time has changed. The performance self-assessment is first done by the staff. They fill up the whole year, what type of activities they have done, what targets they have achieved, and what are their future plan. Then it goes to the next supervisor. At the end of the appraisal period, appraisee and the employee together review the work and evaluate it against the established performance standards. Again, it depends upon the policy of the organization. It will be discussed with the employee or not. There is no hard and fast rule. This review helps to determine how well employees have met these standards and reasons for deficiencies, and develop plan to correct if there is any deficiency. At this meeting, goals are set for the next evaluation period and the cycle repeats. It is very important. Beforehand only one has to plan how they can improve, how they can overcome the deficiencies, and even the strengths have to be appreciated. That is very important. If the strengths are appreciated, the staff get motivated. Appraisal period. Again, it is an annual period. It depends upon the policy of the organization. It will be actually done at the end of the year, or it will be done on a continuous basis. One has to see. The continuous one is important because there a supervisor can do a mentoring, coaching, and continuously they can assess the progress of the potential of the employee also. Managers should be conditioned to understand that managing performance is a continuous process and it has to be built in their work plan. Even the supervisor or a managers, they have to understand the main need or the purpose of the performance. It is not just a ritual that they have to just fill up and sign and forward to the next higher authority. I think after understanding the purposes, not only for promotion or a monetary benefit, how it even helps you during recruitment process, improving the potential of your staff, help you in the transfer, help you to give them the higher positions. So it is a process which has to be analyzed very carefully so that you can take a appropriate action as a manager. Different types of tools which are used for the performance appraisal, that is ranking, grading, graphic scales, checklist, forced choice description, rating scales, observation checklist, 360-degree. This is the latest one and which is followed by most of the organization. That means the performance is not only assessed by one assessor or the superior, but the views are taken by the peer group, supervisors, subordinates, patients and clients. 360-degree feedback focus on skills, needs across organization, not only in the nursing but also in the management, IT skills, communication skills, your critical thinking, analytical, problem solving skills. All this will be part of your performance, and shifting the responsibility of appraisal from one person to group of people. 360-degree feedback may provide a more comprehensive and objective appraisal about a person. Suppose something is missed by one person, the other person may fill up the gap, which will minimize the biases and which will help the employee to be motivated and satisfied with the performance. In the rating scale, as you know, or in the ranking scale, the ranks are being given, the group is being evaluated or assessed, and as per their performance they are being given ranking from 10 to 1 or 20 to 1, depends upon the ranking system. Same way in the rating scale, they have the rating scale from excellent, very good, good, satisfactory, not satisfactory, depends upon the ranking system which is being designed by the organization. So it depends upon the organization what type of system or what type of performance appraisal form they have designed for their staff. So the rating scale are of two types, that is job related and the personal characteristics. Sometimes the personal characteristics are not given so much of emphasis by some organizations. They put more emphasis on job related indicators. Then critical incidence method. I think this is very common in our hospitals where some critical incidences are being noted down, which can be good or sometimes which can be negative. But one critical incidence is not enough to actually say the person is not performing good or person is very good. Sometimes it can be a mix of good incidences and some incidences may not be so good. So one has to analyze when the critical incidence is being noted, one has to make the notes. After making the notes in a continuous process, not at one go, but it has to be continuously done and it has to be analyzed at the end. Then again the 360-degree, then you have to take the views of the peer review with the doctors, with the patients and from the relatives also. And writing a critical incidence in an unbiased manner is very important. At the end of the appraisal period, the rater used these records and data to evaluate the performance of an employee. Again in this, one critical incidence is not taken into consideration, but overall performance is taken into consideration. The problems of performance appraisal. There can be many problems and people are hardly satisfied with the performance appraisal when it is done by the superior. The appraisal may be have discomfort because they will be anxious. What type of the supervisor, how they will analyze my or give my performance feedback to my superior. Lack of objectivity. There will be hello horn effect. That means one incident, suppose someone has done very excellent work, so that incidence will have the effect and that means whole year that person will do a good work. Sometimes in front of supervisor, if someone has done by mistake something wrong, so that supervisor will have impression this worker is not good and the worker is always doing a wrong thing. So that should not be there. Then leniency and strictness. Some supervisors are very lenient, some are very strict in filling up the performance appraisal. Central tendency. It is a tendency in the government, especially sector, very hardly people give excellent or poor, because if they give excellent or poor, they have to justify it. Why you have give outstanding to this person? Why you have given poor, very poor? So they tend to be in between. So central tendency is good or very good, not beyond that. So recent behavior biases can be there. Personal biases can be there. Manipulation and evaluation. In evaluation, there can be some manipulations even by some supervisors. And employee anxiety, I have already told you. And what are the characteristics of effective appraisal system? Job related criteria is very important. It has to be related to that particular occupation, vocation or profession. If it is not related to that, the performance criteria, then it not will be objective and realistic. Performance expectations. It has to be realistic. Not too high, not too low. You have to see the training level, experience level of the employees. That will they be able to achieve the performance criteria or not? If not, then the training has to be given. Standardization. Standardization of form is to be done so that same form in the same cadre is being filled by everyone, so that the performance appraisal is not biased. Trained appraiser, the person who is filling up the performance appraisal form, also need training. It is being seen and studies have shown many managers do not know how to fill up the performance appraisal of an employee and how to write the comments. The comments which are actually effective, which will not have effect on the career of the employee. Open communication, very important. It has to be discussed because it is the performance of an employee which you are going to assess. They should know what are their strong points, what are the weak points, in which area they need future strengthening. And if they are good in certain areas, they can put more emphasis on the areas which needs more training. So in this way, today we have learned about the performance appraisal. What are the purposes? That means not only for promotion and the monetary benefits, but other purposes for improving the organizational performance, for selecting the person for higher post, for transfer of the person, or for selecting a new employee in an organization. A performance appraisal of last few years are being assessed so that you know what is the performance of an employee and will they be able to take up the job in the organization. What are the steps? That means a person has to fill up the form. It has to be assessed by the next senior. They have to write the comments. Then it will go to the other person for the writing the comments. And one has to be very positive, non-judgmental and trained for filling up the performance appraisal. Thank you.